to be a part of such an incredible thing. And it was all being in, you know, it's all in my preparation for it when I could not understand what it was. It was just a sense of call to the ministry and so impossible and such, you know, just, and then, you know, and when Bobby Kennedy was assassinated in 1968. I worked on his campaign and I believed in him. And, you know, there was just so much, it seemed like so much inequality in the world. I saw him on television and he was up on the Fort Hall in Indian Reservation outside of Pocatello, Idaho, where I grew up. And I knew the conditions that were there. And, you know, he went right into the reservation. And you know, I just believed in him so much and I was working for him. And he was in California. For the the California Democratic Convention, and he got the endorsement for California, and that was June 5th, 1968. And I went to bed that night. I saw him get the election, but I turned off the TV, and it wasn't until the next morning that I found out that he'd been shot. It was like my world ended. I mean, it's like, you know, I got this depression, just this lump in my throat. You know, lump in my throat. I just thought I need to just go up in the hills and live somewhere, and you know, nothing makes any sense. And I was really depressed. And then I started to come out of it, and I came out a different person. And because I came out and I said to myself in 1968, and you know, nobody was out in Sacramento, nobody that I knew anything about. But I came out and I said to myself, we can't have heroes anymore. We can't have heroes. There has to be so many of us. We've got to come out. The sixth sense with the lead cannot stop us. We've got, and that day I determined I'm going to come out. You know, I don't care. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what it costs. I don't care if they fire me. I don't care if they shoot me. I don't care if they hang me. But this is who I am. And I went out because that's when I re-registered at Sac State as an open lesbian when I'd been there before. You know, and I sat in the psychology department, and they, you know, and they had the whole thing about latent homosexuality. You didn't even have to act on it, and you know that you could never get a license in the state of California. It's a crime. You couldn't be hired by the federal government. All of that, and the psychology especially, you know, they'd get on, you know, the homosexuality thing on how you detected latent homosexuality through your draw a person tests, because if you drew eyelashes on a male figure, that was possible hint that you were a latent homosexual. Yes.
Wow.
But I'd been there. That's when, you know, I also, well, I was very, very ill. I had trouble with my heart right in there, and could not go to school. But then I just didn't have the heart to even want to go back, because I figured, well, they'd trap me, and if I tried to get a job anywhere, I wouldn't be able to work. But that was being in the closet. But when after Bobby was assassinated, I said, you know, I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to confront them. They're not going to get away with that anymore. And so I went back to Sac State, and I would stand up in class if they did anything that was, you know, and then I was involved in the feminist movement too, but I was just not going to let it happen. And I'd speak on this quad, and I'd say, you know, you got to come out. You know, you're your own worst enemy.
Wow.
You know, and people are scared to death. The gay community was scared to death of me, as well as the straight. And then, you know, that's when I got together with Troy, and then I got into MCC. But I was the only openly gay person on that campus that was out speaking out or anything. And then, of course, well, we did have Marty Rogers, and we did then form the gay students too, and the Gay Studies program and the Women's Studies program. Like I said, the Gay Studies program, the first in the country.
Yeah,
on Sac State, and the Women's
awesome.
Studies
When was
program.
that founded?
That would have been like, I want to say like about 70.
Okay.
1970, yeah. And anyhow, and then, you know, just went on into
That's incredible. That's incredible.
But I was in the right place at the right time. I mean, I had been in the closet for years. You know, first I was, you know, in the Salvation Army. First, you know, going to become an officer, and then realized that I could not with integrity. And then tried to find myself, and ended up in Los Angeles and found the gay community and learned the secret language and the customs and lived. And then I moved up here, and it took a while to find the gay community in Sacramento, but I found it. You know, everybody's in the closet. Everybody, you know, you talk to someone in the bar at night, and the next day you see them on the street, you wouldn't even make eye contact. I mean, like you weren't. I mean, you lived like that all the time. And then when I came back out, they were all scared of me because
stay away from Frida. She'll out you.
Yeah, right. Well, no, I wouldn't out people.
I mean,
but you know, they were state jobs. I mean, Sacramento is all civil service, and you know, hanging there by a thread anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was in the right place at the right time. I came into Sac State then just at the right time. When I came in through the Women's Caucus and into the Women's Studies program, and we built the Women's Studies. I was on the advisory board, and then, you know, like I said, I was in charge of cultural programs, and because everybody, you know, when they, you know, it's like everything just fell in front of me. You know, I just went forward, and it fell in front of me, and then I went into MCC, and. But it was just the right time, you know, for nothing on my part, you know. It really.
Other than being willing to step into
well, put one foot in front of the other, and you know, just give it my all. But you know, then MCC was right there. I mean, it wasn't, you know, you know, it was just there. And it was what it was, and you know, I said, you know, this is how it is, but this is how it's going to be, you know.
Yeah.
I told them that too at a conference before. I was at a clergy conference before, because when I came in, but before the '73 thing, you know, the general conference, but we had a clergy conference there in Atlanta before that, and. I told them at that time that you know, this is how it is now, you know, that women don't have this and they don't have that, but this is not how it's going to be. You know, I just out told them that, and that. But I had a stage. I had, you know, lots of people feel that way. Lots of people. But, you know, all of a sudden, God put this stage in front of me. Okay, here you are. Say your thing. And I say my thing, and the door opened. I walk through it. Yeah. And there I am. And say your thing. Okay. You know, this is, you know, just like I said, the gay speeches, you know, that militant. Okay, you know, women are not being treated fairly.
Yeah.
You know, that there was, at that point in time, there was a movement. The church was starting, women's studies was starting, our gay studies were starting, that things are happening. And I just said, it's how it is, you know, this is not right.
Yeah. So. That's awesome.
But see, I couldn't pick the time that the time was given to me by a power beyond me.
Right.
I mean, my ideas are, you know.
You had, though, a wisdom, I would say, about you of saying, yes, that's what I need to be a part of, but yes, that's also what I need to change.
Yeah, right.
So there's that balance there.
And that's true. And like I said, you know, when people have said, well, you know, didn't people try to shut you up or anything. But see, like Troy and Papa John, the founder of the MCC, and the person, Papa John, really was very influential in writing the bylaws and all that. But they were standing right behind me that day in Sacramento on the steps of the Capitol when, you know, they knew. Mm-hmm. They knew. And they wanted me in the church.
I bet.
So I mean, I didn't have, you know, I didn't go up against, you know, iron doors. I went up against a door that was just ready to open for me. All I had to do is walk up and say,
"Who's Papa?"
Papa John.
Papa Holst. John. Oh, John Holst. Okay.
John Holst, yeah, Papa John.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, so. anyhow, that's it's just I can't even explain it. All I know is that my life has just been incredible.
Yeah.
It has, and everything that caused me pain, everything that caused me confusion, everything that it all came together, and it was all worked together for good. And the thing with the sorrow and the grief, with AIDS, and I would with all my heart that none of those people died, so in so much pain and so much agony, so much suffering. They didn't just peacefully go to sleep. But I'd give anything for them not to have happened. But I also know that by going through AIDS, it forced everyone out of the closet. I mean, and they never went back. I mean, that's why the Supreme Court is deliberating today. Without AIDS, without that AIDS crisis, it would not have happened. Yeah. It would have been, still back there. Most people had too much to lose to come out. But when they were dying, when your friends were dying, when your community was dying, when you were pariahs everywhere, what could you do? You just came out. We are church. We are the church with AIDS. We didn't back away from it. Didn't pretend, oh my goodness, this is just a minor part of our church. It's a third of our church is dying. And you don't care, President. Not until Surgeon General Koop got in and started to talk about it. And the CDC started to look at what the people in New York City and ACT UP, and the people with AIDS were experimenting and looking and trying to find, answers to AIDS. Then they got with the program. But the end result, like I said, and it's terrible, and I would not have it to happen, but today would not be the same day if it hadn't been for what we went through.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you.